Peppa Pig, Peppa's Dragon Adventure. And if you'd like to buy this book, check in the link description down below. It was nighttime and Peppa and George were ready for bed. Peppa climbed up the ladder into a bunk bed, but George wouldn't get into his. "What's the matter, George?" asked Daddy Pig. "Don't you want to go to bed?" George shook his head. "George doesn't want to have a bad dream," explained Peppa, "so he doesn't want to go to bed." "I'm sure we can fix that with a good bedtime story," said Daddy Pig. "Snuggle down and I'll begin. Once upon a time, there was a grand castle high up in the sky. It was home to a very special family: Queen Mummy, King Daddy, Princess Peppa and Prince George. "That's us," Peppa whispered to George. George giggled. "The family did lots of important things together," said Daddy Pig. "Didn't they, Mummy Pig?" "Oh yes," said Mummy Pig. "Important things like sitting on their comfy thrones, eating delicious food, and reading bedtime stories in their cozy royal beds." "And playing hide and seek," said Peppa. "Yes, and playing hide and seek," agreed Mummy Pig. "One day, when they were playing a game of hide and seek," continued Mummy Pig, "Prince George spotted something sparkly." "It was an egg," said Daddy Pig. "A giant golden egg." Prince George thought it was a chocolate egg wrapped in golden foil. "Yummy!" cried Prince George, going to take a bite. It wasn't chocolate. It was made of real gold. Suddenly, said Mummy Pig, Prince George heard Princess Peppa singing. "I'm coming to find you, Prince George." When Princess Peppa found him, he showed her the golden egg. "Ooh, fancy," she said. Prince George showed it to the Queen and the King. "Ooh, how fancy," they said. Queen Mummy put the egg where everyone could see it. "Thank you, Prince George," she said. "Doesn't it look lovely?" "Great ending, Mummy Pig," said Daddy Pig. "Are you ready to go to bed now, George?" "No," said George, shaking his head. "I know," said Peppa. "I'll do a bit more story." "Yay!" "The next day," began Peppa, "the family saw the giant golden egg had hatched." "Oh no!" everyone cried. So the family went for a hunt for a dinosaur. "Grrr!" chirped George. Funny George, it wasn't a dinosaur," said Peppa. The family searched the whole castle, but he couldn't find anything. Princess Peppa had an idea. "Let's look in the garden." The prince and princess ran outside, where they spotted a line of huge footprints on the royal lawn. They followed the footprints into the forest, continued Peppa, where they discovered a huge dragon with massive wings. The dragon picked up the prince and the magic princess, put them on their back and took them on a magic flight. They soared over the mountains and flew higher than the clouds, until it was finally time for the dragon to deliver them to their royal beds. "The end," said Peppa. "Now, are you ready to go into bed, George?" asked Peppa. "Yes," said George. "I'm sure after all that adventure, you'll have lovely dreams," said Mummy Pig. "And if anything happens in your dream that you don't like, George," says Peppa, "I will come riding in our dragon and save you." "Yay, dragon!" cried George. Peppa and George soon fell fast asleep. George dreamed he was riding a magnificent dragon and flying high above the clouds with Peppa. It was the best dream ever. The next morning, George woke up excited. "Dragon!" he shouted. Peppa told Mummy and Daddy Pig that George loved this dragon story so much, he wanted to find a real dragon. "That's lovely, George," said Mummy Pig. "But dragons aren't real, I'm afraid." "Some are real, aren't they, Mummy?" asked Peppa. Before Mummy Pig could answer, there was a flash of something green outside the kitchen window. "Dragon!" cheered George. "Really?" said Daddy Pig, looking up. George nodded. "Right, well maybe we should go and check," said Daddy Pig. "Hooray!" cheered Peppa. "Another dragon hunt!" Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy Pig headed off in search of the dragon. They soon spotted some tracks in the forest. "Follow that trail!" cried Peppa. The tracks led all the way to a castle. "Dragon!" cheered George, looking up and seeing Miss Rabbit on top of a huge robot dragon. "Oh my, it is a dragon," said Mummy Pig. "This is my robot dragon," Miss Rabbit shouted down. "Sometimes I use it as part of a tour at the castle. Would you like to give it a go?" "No, thank you," Daddy Pig shouted up. He was a little bit scared of heights. "Yes, please," cheered Peppa and George. Miss Rabbit gave Peppa and George a ride on a robot dragon. They were so high in their heads. They were up in the clouds. "George!" cried Peppa. "Isn't riding a dragon magical, just like in our story?" "Yay!" cried George. "Dragon!" After the ride was over, Miss Rabbit gave Peppa and George toy dragons from the souvenir shop to take home. "Dragon! Roar!" said George happily. That night, Peppa and George cuddled their toy dragons in bed, and they both fell fast asleep, even before Mummy and Daddy Pig could finish their bedtime story. "I'm sure after that dragon adventure, they'll sleep really well," said Daddy Pig. Peppa and George love dragons. Everyone loves dragons. The end. Peppa's Fire Engine. And if you'd like to buy this book, check in the link description down below. It was a lovely sunny day, and Peppa and George were at the fair with Daddy Pig. There were lots of games to play and prizes to win. "I want to try all the games, Daddy," said Peppa. "Me too," said Daddy Pig. "But remember, you can't always win a prize." Daddy Pig didn't realize just how great Peppa and George were at games. They won toy pandas at all the stalls they went to. The last stall left to visit was Miss Rabbit's big prize draw. "What's the big prize?" Peppa asked. "Is it another toy panda?" "The prize is a chance to be a firefighter for the day," said Miss Rabbit. "I've always wanted to be a firefighter," said Peppa. "Can you buy a ticket for the draw, Daddy, please?" "Of course," said Daddy Pig. "But remember, you might not win." Miss Rabbit explained that the winner of the prize draw would be announced at the end of the day. "That means we have to go back to the stall again, Daddy," said Peppa. "Oh, good," said Daddy Pig, peering over all the panda toys. When it was time for the result of the big prize draw to be announced, everyone gathered around. Miss Rabbit put her hand in a big bucket of tickets and picked one out. The winner of the big prize draw and the chance to be a firefighter for the day is Peppa! Peppa and George jumped up and down cheering. "Woohoo! We won, Daddy!" said Peppa. "We won!" "We certainly did," said Daddy Pig. "Now I think we'd better go home so you can rest before your big day as a firefighter." The next morning, Peppa was very excited. "I'm going to be a firefighter for the day and have my very own fire engine, Daddy," she said. Well, I'm not sure you'll have your own fire engine exactly, said Daddy Pig, but Peppa was already running off to get ready. When George and Mummy Pig arrived at the fire station, Miss Rabbit was waiting for them. So, Peppa, she said, are you ready to be a firefighter for the day? Yes, cried Peppa. Can Mummy and George come too, please? Miss Rabbit said of course they could. Mummy Pig already knew the fire station very well, as she sometimes helped out there. First, Miss Rabbit gave Peppa and George a firefighter's uniform each. Next, Peppa met the rest of the firefighters, and they showed Peppa and George how to slide down the pole. And then Miss Rabbit pointed to the different parts of the fire engine, the ladder, the siren, and the huge water hose. Everyone got a bit wet, but it was lots of fun. Peppa and the firefighters were having a tea break when the fire station phone started ringing. Ring, ring. Dr. Hamster's pet tortoise, Tiddles, was stuck up in a tree. We'll be right there, Dr. Hamster, said Miss Rabbit. She turned to Peppa and told her what happened. Do you think we can help? Peppa had an idea. We can use a fire engine's ladder to climb up and get him. Great idea, said Miss Rabbit. Let's go. The firefighters zoomed down the pole quickly, climbed into the fire engine and raced to the rescue. Don't worry, Dr. Hamster, said Peppa when they arrived. We'll save Tiddles for you. Oh, thank you, Firefighter Peppa, said Dr. Hamster. Mrs. Sheep climbed up the ladder, but Tiddles wouldn't come towards her. Peppa suddenly had another idea. Do you have Tiddles' food with you, Dr. Hamster? She asked. Dr. Hamster gave the tortoise food to Peppa, and Miss Rabbit passed it up to Mrs. Sheep. Tiddles saw the food and wandered over. Mrs. Sheep scooped up the little tortoise and brought him down successfully. The firefighters had rescued Tiddles. Hooray! Oh, thank you for saving Tiddles, said Dr. Hamster. No problem, said Miss Rabbit. It's all part of the service. When the firefighters got back to the fire station, the phone rang again. Ring, ring. Daddy Pig was cooking a surprise dinner, and his barbecue caught fire. He needed the firefighters to help. We'll be right there, Daddy Pig, said Miss Rabbit. The firefighters zoomed down the pole, quickly climbed into the fire engine and raced to the rescue again. The firefighters soon arrived at Peppa's house. They worked as a team and used the water hose to put out the fire. Mummy Pig thanked Miss Rabbit for letting Peppa be a firefighter for the day. It's been a pleasure, said Miss Rabbit. Peppa has been so helpful we've decided to name our fire engine after her. Look, Daddy, said Peppa. It is my fire engine. So it is, said Daddy Pig, chuckling. How splendid. And thank you for being such a great helper today, Peppa, said Miss Rabbit. Our firefighters would like to present you with a very special gift. Mrs. Sheep handed Peppa a big toy panda. Look, Daddy, said Peppa. I've got another one. Wonderful, said Daddy Pig, chuckling. Well done, Peppa. Peppa put her panda toy in the front seat of the fire engine. You can be a firefighter too, she said. Nina, Nina, said George. Everyone laughed. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Clubhouse Adventure. And if you'd like to buy this book, check the link description down below. Peppa and her friends are in their clubhouse. What game shall we play today? Asks Mandy Mouse. Let's be adventurers, says Susie Sheep. Yes, says Peppa. And outside is a forest full of wild animals. The adventure waits inside the clubhouse for an animal to appear. Daddy, Peppa whispered through the window, you have to be a wild animal.
Ho, ho, I think I can manage that, says Daddy Pig.
Daddy Pig pretends to be a wild animal stomping through the forest. Peppa laughs. We need more wild animals. Mandy asks her mum to join the game. I can be a wild animal too, says Mummy Mouse. Squeak, squeak. Mandy frowns. A squeaking mouse is not even a little bit exciting. Mummy Mouse tries again. She makes a little growling sound and then... Many polar bears' mummies have decided to join in. Polar bears are good at growling, says Penny proudly. The adventurers peep out at the wild animals. We should make the game even more exciting, says Peppa. Let's pretend there's a jungle outside, says Susie, with jungle animals. Just then, Mr. Lion, the zookeeper, arrives. Mr. Lion tells everyone that he's looking for some animals that escaped from the zoo.
I heard noises coming from this way, he says. Says Daddy Pig. That was just us. Should we be worried about the escaped animals? Asks Mummy Mouse. No, says Mr. Lion. They are...
Penguins! Shout Peppa and her friends. The escaped penguins are waddling around the playground.
There you are,
says Mr. Lion.
You cheeky things.
Hello, penguins, says Peppa. Would you like to see our clubhouse? One by one, the penguins follow Peppa inside. Look, says Penny. They like the swing and the slide, cheers Mandy. The penguins love the clubhouse. Everyone loves the clubhouse. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Scooter Fun. And if you'd like to buy this book, check the link description down below. Peppa is getting ready to go to the playgroup. Today, Madame Gazelle has asked everyone to travel to class in their favourite way. Can I and George scoot to the playgroup? Peppa asked excitedly. Please.
Oh, of course, Peppa,
says Daddy Pig. Mummy and Daddy Pig have decided to use their scooters too.
This is really good fun.
Remember to look out for things around you, like these ducks, said Mummy Pig. Everyone will love our scooters, George, says Peppa. Even Mummy and Daddy think they're amazing. At playgroup, everyone shows Madame Gazelle their favourite way to travel. I love my roller skates, says Molly Mole, zipping around. My chair is really speedy, says Mandy Mouse.
My bicycle has a bell, says Danny Dog.
Look, says Rebecca Rabbit. I have a new skateboard. Suddenly there is a loud noise. It's Peggy and Panda. Their daddy has driven them to playgroup in his police car. What a wonderful siren, cries Madame Gazelle.
It is very loud, says Pandora.
The car has a light too, says Peggy. Would you like to stay for our lesson? Madame Gazelle asked Police Officer Panda. We're learning about the different ways we all like to travel. Police Officer Panda sets up some traffic cones.
Let's see how safely you all get around. Remember to always pay attention, says Police Officer Panda. Don't go too fast, and if you are scootering, biking or skating, then always wear your helmet.
My helmet has flames on it, says Danny proudly. It's the best. Mine is best, says Zoe Zebra. It has spots like a ladybird. Dinosaur, grrr, says George, pointing to his helmet. Oh dear, nobody can agree on whose helmet is the best.
Children, says Madame Gazelle, you all have wonderful helmets and you all have wonderful ways of getting around.
But whose is best?
asks Zoe. Madame Gazelle tells the children that the best helmet and way of travelling is the one they each like the most. Peppa raises her hand.
I like my scooter best, she says. I'm really good at scootering. Watch!
Peppa scoots and whooshes and zooms. Police Officer Panda thinks Peppa's scooter looks like fun. He gives it a go. My police car might have a siren, he says. But Peppa's scooter is best for me. The children cheer and join in. Peppa loves scooters. Everyone loves scooters. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Fishy Friends. And if you'd like to buy this book, check in the link description down below. Goldie is Peppa's pet fish. Today, she looks a bit sad.
I think Goldie is lonely,
says Peppa.
She hasn't got any fishy friends.
Maybe Goldie could visit the aquarium, says Mummy Pig. An aquarium is a place where there are lots of fish. Peppa and her family drive to the aquarium.
I hope we can find a friend for Goldie, says Peppa.
I'm sure we will, snorts Daddy Pig. The aquarium has every type of fish. Miss Rabbit works at the aquarium. Welcome everyone, she says. Does the aquarium have every type of fish? Asks Peppa. Oh yes, replies Miss Rabbit. Probably. The tanks in the first room are full of tiny fish. Peppa starts to sing. Fishy, 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 swimming in the sea. Who will be a fishy friend for my Goldie? He. Could any of these fish be Goldie's friend? Asked Daddy Pig. Peppa and Goldie look through the glass. No, decides Peppa. They are too small. Peppa tries the next room. Candy Cat is there with her mummy and daddy. Candy's family come to the aquarium all the time. It's better than watching TV, Mrs. Cat beams. We like fish, adds Mr. Cat. What's in that tank? Asks Mummy Pig. Daddy Pig jumps back. The fish in the tank is very big. This fish is too big to be friends with Goldie, decides Peppa. There is something funny in the next tank.
Dinosaur,
growls George. It's not a dinosaur, says Mummy Pig. It's a funny kind of fish called a seahorse. Peppa thinks that the seahorse is too much like a dinosaur to be Goldie's friend. There is only one room left. This tank is covered in green slime. There is a fish with big long ears, gasps Daddy Pig. It's a rabbit fish. Peppa laughs.
It's only Miss Rabbit wearing a diving costume. She's cleaning the glass.
There is no more fish tanks. Peppa takes Goldie into the aquarium cafe. Hello, says Miss Rabbit. Did you find a friend for Goldie? No, sighs Peppa. Peppa spots a fish on Miss Rabbit's counter. That's just Ginger, says Miss Rabbit. My pet goldfish. My fish isn't lonely anymore, Peppa laughs. Goldie has found her friend. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa is kind. And if you'd like to buy this book, check the link description down below. It was Wellbeing Week at Playgroup, and Madame Gazelle was talking about feelings with their children. What feeling does this picture show? She asked, holding up a smiley face. Happy or sad? Happy, called the children. And this one? She asked, holding up a frowny face. Sad, replied the children. Very good, said Madame Gazelle. It's important.
We know what we are feeling and what others are feeling too. At playtime, Peppa and Susie Sheep were playing a game. I won! Shouted Peppa. No, I won! Shouted Susie. How are you feeling right now, Peppa? Asked Madame Gazelle. Angry, said Peppa. I won. How are you feeling right now, Susie? Asked Madame Gazelle. Angry, said Susie. I won. Madame Gazelle asked everyone what Peppa and Susie should do. They should both be winners and say sorry for shouting, said Edmund Elephant. Wonderful suggestion, Edmund, said Madame Gazelle. Let's see what happens when they both say sorry at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, said Peppa and Susie. I feel much better now, said Peppa. I don't feel angry anymore. Me too, said Susie Sheep. I feel happy again. Very good, said Madame Gazelle. If you have an argument with someone, stop and think about why you feel angry or upset. And think about how the other person is feeling too. Peppa and Susie went out to the playground to play with their skipping ropes. Mandy Mouse was playing with a bouncy ball. Can I play bouncy ball with you, Mandy? Asked Danny Dog. Mandy was having lots of fun with the ball, and she wanted to keep bouncing it all by herself. No, said Mandy. You can play with it later instead. That's not nice, said Candy Cat. Danny looked sad. Madame Gazelle asked Danny and Mandy how they were feeling. I feel sad because I can't play, said Danny. I feel sad that Danny's sad, said Mandy. What does everyone think Mandy should do? Asked Madame Gazelle. Share, cheered the children. Mandy shared the ball with Danny. They both felt happy. After lunch, the children played hopscotch together. George fell over and hurt his leg. He started to cry. Where? Poor George. I know how he feels, said Pedro Pony. I've hurt my leg before. If we know how others are feeling, said Madame Gazelle, then we can help them. Can I help George up? Asked Peppa. Of course, Peppa, said Madame Gazelle. That's very kind of you. When we are kind, it makes others feel happy. And it makes us feel happy too. I like feeling happy, says Rebecca Rabbit. Me too, everyone cheered. Now, children, said Madame Gazelle, I have a little game for you. I call it my one kind thing game. To play, you have to do one kind thing for someone. Then ask that person to do one kind thing for someone else. Ooh, said the children. The kind thing doesn't have to be big, just something that will make another person feel happy, explained Madame Gazelle. Peppa, George and their friends told their families about the one kind thing game. What a lovely idea, Mummy Pig said to Peppa. Can we help you with the shopping, Mummy? Asked Peppa. Yes, that would be very kind, said Mummy Pig, feeling happy. Then afterwards, will you please do one kind thing for someone else? Asked Peppa. Yes, of course, said Mummy Pig. So Mummy Pig did one kind thing for Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig did one kind thing for Granny Pig. Granny Pig did one kind thing for Grandpa Pig. And Grandpa Pig did one kind thing for Miss Rabbit. Soon, everyone was doing kind thing for someone else. Danny gave his mummy a flower, and Mummy Dog made Grandad Dog chuckle. Zoe Zebra helped Mr. Zebra post letters. Mr. Zebra gave Mrs. Zebra a present. Mrs. Zebra taught Zaza and Zuzu Zebra to make pottery, and Zaza and Zuzu gave their pottery to Miss Rabbit. Edmund found Emily Elephant's toy mouse. Emily played the recorder for Mummy Elephant. Mummy Elephant found Dr. Elephant his football boots. When they went back to playgroup, Peppa and her friends were excited to tell Madame Gazelle about their kind deeds. "What wonderful kind things, children," said Madame Gazelle. "Perhaps we should play the one kind thing game every day." "Yes," everyone cheered. At playtime, Peppa and Susie both wanted to play with the skipping rope. "It's my turn," said Peppa. "No, it's not," said Susie. "It's my turn." 1, 2, 3. "Sorry," said Peppa and Susie. "Let's skip together with everyone," said Peppa. "Yes," said Susie. "What a lovely kind playgroup we have," said Madame Gazelle. Peppa loves being kind. Everyone loves being kind. The end. Peppa Pig, George's balloon. And if you'd like to buy this book, check in the link description down below. Peppa and George are driving home with Granny and Grandpa Pig when they see Miss Rabbit's ice cream stall. "Let's stop for ice cream," says Granny Pig.
"Why not?" says Grandpa Pig. "I think we deserve it."
Peppa, Granny and Grandpa Pig choose their ice cream. George is next. "Dinosaur, roar," says George. "I think George wants a dinosaur balloon," says Miss Rabbit.
"All right, how much is it?"
Grandpa says. £10, please," says Miss Rabbit. Grandpa thinks the balloon is a bit expensive, but he buys it for George. "Hold on tight to it," Miss Rabbit says. But George lets go and the balloon starts to float away. Grandpa Pig quickly grabs the string.
"This is very valuable, George. I'll hold it on the way home," says Grandpa Pig.
Outside Granny and Grandpa Pig's house, George plays with his balloon. "George," says Peppa, "this is an up balloon, and if you let it go again, it will go up to the moon." "Moon?" cries George, and he lets the balloon go. The balloon goes up and up, but Grandpa Pig catches it just in time. Peppa and George have gone indoors to keep the balloon safe. "Hello, Polly," says Peppa. "George has got a new balloon." "Squawk!" cries Polly. "Balloon!" Both Polly and George love the balloon. "Oh no!" George cries, letting go of the balloon. The balloon floats all the way out the door, up the stairs and into the attic. "Don't worry, it's safe in here," says Peppa. "Don't worry," says Granny Pig as they follow the balloon up to the ladder. The only way out of the attic is a window, and the window is always shut. But the window is not shut. The balloon escapes outside. "Your balloon is going to the moon, George," says Peppa. "Where?" cries George. Just then, Daddy Pig arrives to take them home.
"Oh dear,"
says Daddy Pig.
"there must be some way we can get the balloon back,"
cries Granny Pig. "Squawk, balloon," says Polly Parrot. Polly flies high up into the sky and catches a balloon string in her beak.
"Polly to the rescue,"
cries Grandpa Pig. Polly Parrot has saved the day. "Hooray!" George cheers. "Who's a clever Polly?" says Granny Pig. "Who's a clever Polly?" repeats Polly Parrot. "George, don't let go of your balloon again," says Peppa. Daddy Pig has an idea.
"I'll tie the balloon to your wrist, George," he says. "That will stop it floating away."
George is very happy. He loves his balloon. Everyone loves George's balloon. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's First Glasses. And if you'd like to buy this book, check in the link description down below. Peppa and George are outside playing with their friend, Pedro Pony. They are busy jumping in muddy puddles. Splash, splash, splish. Haha, Peppa giggles as she jumps up and down. Ah, Pedro exclaims as he slips in the puddle and falls over.
His glasses fly high into the air and land on the grass. "Where are my glasses?" Pedro asks Peppa and George, stumbling about. Pedro can't see very well without them. Peppa and George look for Pedro's glasses. George quickly finds them and tries them on. "Silly George," Peppa says. She takes the glasses and gives them back to Pedro. "Here they are." "Thank you," says Pedro as he puts them on. "Pedro, why do you wear glasses?" Peppa asks. "I need to," replies Pedro. "My daddy says so. He's an optician." "What's an optician?" Peppa wonders. Pedro explains. An optician checks that you can see clearly. He does an eye test. "Shall I give you an eye test?" Pedro asks Peppa. Peppa agrees, and Pedro leans in close. Interesting," he says, rubbing his chin. "Close one eye and say what you can see." "I can see George," Peppa says. George snorts. "Now close both eyes," Pedro instructs Peppa. Peppa closes both eyes. "I can't see anything," Peppa says. Can't see anything? Very, very interesting," Pedro says. "I think you need glasses." Soon it was Pedro's home time. He waves goodbye to his friends and goes home with his mum. Peppa and George go inside. "Pedro gave me an eye test and I need glasses," says Peppa. "When I closed my eyes, I couldn't see anything." "No one can see anything with their eyes closed," Mummy Pig explains. "But," Peppa sighs, "Pedro knows all about glasses." "All right, Peppa," chuckles Daddy Pig. "Let's take you to the optician for a proper eye test." Peppa and Mummy are at the optician's. "What can I do for you?" Mr. Pony asks Peppa. "I need an eye test, please," Peppa replies, jumping up into a special chair. "Of course," Mr. Pony says. "Put these special glasses on and then look at the chart." Mr. Pony is going to test Peppa's eyes. "Can you read these for me, please?" asks Mr. Pony, pointing at some numbers. Peppa says what she sees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. "Very good," Mr. Pony says. "And now these colours, please." "Red, orange, blue, green, yellow, and purple," says Peppa. "Excellent," Mr. Pony says. Mummy Pig helps Peppa try on some glasses while Mr. Pony checks of the test results. Some pairs look a little funny. "How about these?" Mummy Pig says to Peppa, holding out some red heart-shaped glasses. "Wow, I really like these ones, Mummy," says Peppa. They both agree that Peppa looks fantastic in the glasses. Mr. Pony comes back with the results. "Good news! Peppa has perfect eyesight." "Oh, so I don't need glasses?" Peppa sighs disappointedly. "But I really wanted some." "Oh," Mr. Pony says, thinking. "I suppose you could have some sunglasses." Peppa puts on a pair of red heart-shaped sunglasses. "Fantastic," Peppa says. "I hope it's sunny every day so I can wear them." The end. Peppa's Summer Holiday. And if you'd like to buy this book, check in the link description down below. Peppa was at playgroup and she was feeling very excited. "I'm going on a summer holiday," she cried. "Me too," shouted all of Peppa's friends. "I'm going to swim in a swimming pool," cried Peppa. "Me too," shouted all of Peppa's friends. Everyone was going on a summer holiday and everyone was going to swim in a swimming pool. After playgroup, Peppa and George packed their holiday bags.
"Please, could you help me pack my flamingo, Daddy?" asked Peppa.
"Of course,"
said Daddy Pig, trying to squeeze Peppa's inflatable flamingo into her bag.
"Why don't we deflate it first?" suggested Mummy Pig.
"Great idea, Mummy Pig," said Daddy Pig. Peppa, George, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig put their bags in the car and headed to the airport. "We're going on holiday, we're going on holiday," sang Peppa over and over again.
"It seems like everyone's going on holiday,"
said Daddy Pig.
"Just look at all this traffic."
Peppa and the family made it to the airport just in time. They quickly showed their passports to Miss Rabbit and then put their bags through the scanning machine. "Yippee!" cheered Peppa and George when they boarded the aeroplane. "Phew, we made it," said Mummy Pig, as everyone put on their seatbelts. When they arrived at the hotel, everyone was very excited.
"Look at the blue sea,"
gasped Daddy Pig. "Look at the palm trees," sighed Mummy Pig. "Look at the swimming pool," cried Peppa. "Let's find our room," said Mummy Pig. "Then we can go swimming." "Hooray!" cheered Peppa and George. After they had unpacked their bags in their room, Peppa, George and Daddy Pig jumped straight into the swimming pool. Meanwhile, Mummy Pig relaxed in the sunshine with an ice-cold smoothie. Peppa and George found Emily and Edmund Elephant splashing about in the water. "What are you doing here, Emily?" said Peppa. "I'm on holiday," said Emily. "What are you doing here?" Peppa giggled. "I'm on holiday too." "Dinosaur!" cried George, splashing Edmund. The swimming pool was lots of fun. Soon, Miss Rabbit arrived at the pool and made an announcement. "Attention, please! This afternoon's holiday activity is a visit to a turtle sanctuary." "Ooh!" gasped the children. "If turtle hatchings are being released into the sea today, we may be able to watch from a distance," said Miss Rabbit. On the turtle trip, Peppa and Emily saw Rebecca and Richard Rabbit. "What are you doing here, Rebecca?" said Peppa. "I'm on holiday," replied Rebecca. "What are you doing here?" "I'm on holiday too," said Peppa. Peppa, Emily and Rebecca loved watching the baby turtles going for their first swim in the sea. "Can we go in the pool with Rebecca now, Mummy?" asked Peppa. "Of course," said Mummy Pig. The next day, Peppa and George went straight to the pool. "Susie! Zoe!" cried Peppa. "What are you doing here?" "We're on holiday," replied Susie Sheep and Zoe Zebra. Miss Rabbit announced that the next activity would be a jungle walk to find sloths. "Ooh!" gasped the children. Peppa was very good at spotting sloths, and she also spotted a giraffe family. It was very hot in the jungle. "Please, can we go back to the swimming pool now, Mummy?" said Peppa. "Of course," replied Mummy Pig. "It will be nice to cool off in the pool." After the jungle trip, everyone jumped into the pool. "Our last holiday activity is a dance competition," said Miss Rabbit, "in the swimming pool." Peppa was very excited and started to dance. "Look at me! I'm doing a flamingo dance!" she cried. The children laughed and copied Peppa's funny flamingo dance. Soon, everyone was doing Peppa's funny flamingo dance, even the grown-ups. Miss Rabbit picked up her megaphone, and the winning dance is Peppa's flamingo dance. "Hooray!" everyone cheered. Everyone had enjoyed their holiday, but it was time to go home. Once everyone was in the aeroplane, Miss Rabbit announced, "I'm afraid takeoff has been delayed." "Can we go to the swimming pool?" asked Peppa. Mummy Pig frowned. "I'm afraid not, Peppa."
You could do the flamingo dance though,
suggested Daddy Pig. "Yes!" cried Peppa, and she started to dance. Soon, everyone on the aeroplane was doing Peppa's flamingo dance, right up until it was time for takeoff. Everyone loved their summer holiday, and everyone loved Peppa's flamingo dance. The end. Peppa Pig. Peppa loves everyone. And if you'd like to buy this book, check in the link description down below. Peppa and her friends had just arrived at playgroup. "Today, children," said Madame Gazelle, "today we are going to think about what makes us all special." "Ooh," cried the children. "Together we are one lovely playgroup class," said Madame Gazelle. "But each of us is very different." "I have wavy horns on my head," said Madame Gazelle, picking up her guitar. "And I like to sing." "Your horns are very beautiful, Madame Gazelle," said Peppa. "Thank you, Peppa," said Madame Gazelle. "That's very kind." "I love singing with you," said Pedro Pony. "Thank you, Pedro," said Madame Gazelle. "I love singing with you too." Madame Gazelle asked the children to draw pictures of what made them special. "I'm drawing myself tall," said Gerald Giraffe, "and playing with a basketball. I love playing basketball." "I love basketball too," said Mandy Mouse. "I'm going to draw myself whizzing around with the ball and lots of cheese. I love cheese." Zoe Zebra drew lots of black and white stripes. "Me and my family have stripes," she said. "I love my stripes, and I love playing the recorder." "I love carrots," said Rebecca Rabbit, drawing a giant orange carrot. Molly Mouse drew herself wearing her favorite glasses and digging for buried treasure. And George drew a big green dinosaur. "Grrr!" roared George. Peggy and Pandora Panda drew themselves together, but their pictures looked different. "Being twins makes us special," said Pandora. "We look the same and we like some of the same things," said Peggy. "Like solving mysteries," added Pandora. "But we like different things too," said Peggy. "Excellent," said Madame Gazelle. "We are all unique. That means that even if we look similar, we are not exactly the same." "What are you drawing, Edmund?" asked Madame Gazelle. "All the planets in the solar system," said Edmund Elephant proudly. "I know lots about space. That makes me special." "Edmund is a bit of a clever clogs." "Wonderful," said Madame Gazelle. She looked around. "What amazing pictures, children. They're all different and very special indeed." Peppa put up her hand. "Madame Gazelle," she said, "I'm not a twin, but I do like basketball and space a little bit." "Don't worry, Peppa," said Madame Gazelle. "You don't need to draw those things." "But I don't know what else to draw," said Peppa. "You could try doing your drawing at home," said Madame Gazelle. "I'm sure you think of something there." "Yes," said Peppa. "I'll try." It was time to go home, and the children's parents had come to pick them up. "Next time," said Madame Gazelle, "we are going to have a party to celebrate how different we are." "Hooray!" cheered the children. "I'd like you all to bring some of your favorite things with you to playgroup," added Madame Gazelle. "Hooray!" everyone cheered again. At home, Peppa talked to Mummy and Daddy Pig about her drawing and the party. "I don't know what to draw or bring in," she said, sighing. There are lots of things that make you special, Peppa, said Mummy Pig.
Yes, agreed Daddy Pig. And you have lots of favourite things.
Why don't we try doing something to see if that helps you decide, said Mummy Pig. That's a great idea, said Peppa. Peppa had lots of fun trying some of her favourite things. I love Teddy, said Peppa, and playing in my den with my magical unicorn. And I also love going to the playground, said Peppa, and jumping in muddy puddles. But Peppa still couldn't decide what to draw or bring to the party. I love so many things, said Peppa, but they are much better when I do them with my friends, she cried. I'm going to need a big piece of paper, please, Daddy.
Of course, Peppa, said Daddy Pig, coming right up.
Peppa sat down at the kitchen table and got to work. On the day of the playgroup party, the children brought in lots of things to share with everyone. Mandy had her favourite cheese. Ew! Gerald had his basketball. George and Richard Rabbit had their dinosaurs. Not everyone loved Mandy's cheese or playing basketball or dinosaurs, but they all had lots of fun sharing and trying different things. When it was Peppa's turn, she showed Madame Gazelle the picture she'd drawn at home. I love doing everything with my friends, said Peppa. So I drew all my friends. They make me feel special. How wonderful, Peppa, said Madame Gazelle. And I know something all my friends love to do, said Peppa, heading outside. Jump in muddy puddles, cheered Peppa. The playgroup friends couldn't wait to play in the mud with Peppa, and they all did it in their own special way. They splashed, whizzed around, spun, danced, and played their very own favourite muddy puddle games. What makes me special, said Peppa, is all my friends. I think that makes you special, Peppa, said Madame Gazelle, is that you know how to make all your friends smile. Hooray! Cheered Peppa's friends. Peppa loves everyone and everyone loves Peppa. The end.